Happy Homebrew Wednesday, folks! Ryan Patrick Murphy here, drinking a little root beer. Yeah, it's not homebrew. Sorry about that. But it is tasty. What have we got going on this week? A lot of exciting stuff. First, I want to show you something. I bought a new thermometer because I found out my old one was way out of whack and it's damn near impossible to calibrate. So I bought this digital guy with has magnets on the back, little probe. One thing I want to know is, somebody might know this, and I hope somebody watching this knows and can answer this. What is this little piece for? It was on the end, in the package. It was like that. What is this for? Or this for? It looks like a little wire could fit in there or something, but the wire with this unit doesn't fit in it. So I have no idea what it's for. Anyway, I'll be using this to brew today. That's right, I'm brewing today. What am I brewing, you might be asking yourself? I am brewing Surly Bender. That's right, Surly Bender partial mash. It's one of the Pro Series kits from Northern Brewer. Let's just take a quick look at what's in here. Let's see, we got over 5 pounds of grain. All right, for a partial mash, that's a lot of grain. But it's all here in this bag. 2 pounds of Belgian aromatic malt, 1 pound of Canada malting pale ale malt, 0.75 pounds of English medium crystal, 0.75 pounds of Belgian special B, 0.63 pounds of Simpson golden naked oats, and a 1/4 pound of English chocolate malt. So that'll be fun to mash. Got 2 pounds of Golden Light DME and a 3.15 pound can of, or jug I guess, of gold malt syrup. So we also have some interesting stuff with the hops here. The kit comes with 3 ounces of Willamette and 1 ounce of Columbus, but use a 1/4 ounce of the Willamette as a first wort hopping. I've done this before with an extract kit, which is kind of an odd, not something you normally do with an extract kit. It's a first wort hop. That's pretty abnormal. But I think this will be the first time down with the partial mash. Then you use 3/4 of an ounce of the Columbus at 60 minutes, and then 2.5 ounces of Willamette go in at flame out. So we're wasting about an ounce of hops there total, wasted. You know, not being used in the recipe. So that kind of sucks. I hate it when that happens, but that's the way it is. I elected to go with Belgian or British Ale 2. Yeah, I'm gonna put Belgian beer in my Surly Bender. No, British Ale 2, 1335. This is their recommended yeast to use. So I went for that. And so now I know I've done a mini mash before on camera, but it's been a while since I've probably shown any brewing, so I thought maybe I would do this one again, or at least try. So some things you're going to need if you want to try out mini mashing. Well, you always need a a thermometer of some sort, so you know your mash temperature, which you should always have a thermometer anyway. You're going to want a bag like this. It's a nylon bag to hold your grains in as they mash in your pot. So you can pull this out, let all the water drain out, and then you got your wort. Okay? So, I mean, some people just use paint strainer bags. I bought this one from Northern Brewer. It's specifically for partial mashing. Let's see, what else do we need here? Of course, you're going to need 2 pots for this, actually. One that can hold at least 4 gallons, which I recommend going with the 5-gallon stainless steel pot that you can get at most homebrew stores. But you'll also need a pot that can hold up 2 gallons for sparging. Now, sparging is like rinsing the grains, and actually it's not like that. It is that. So, you want to be able to sparge your grains to get all the goodie out of them. Something else here, if I can find it. Apparently I was not prepared for recording this like I thought I was. This isn't a requirement, but this is a nice to have sometimes. There's a hop bag for putting hops in, but I don't use that a whole lot. Where's that? I seem to have lost this thing. This is not required, but it is a nice to have as a mash paddle, little mash paddle. These plastic ones go for like $4 or $5 at a homebrew store. If you can't get your hands on one of these for whatever reason, you can use your spoon too. Normally I use the plastic spoons for when I'm stirring up wort in the bucket to, you know, when you're topping it off the water. That's normally what I use a plastic spoon for. Usually I use a metal spoon. And that's what I'll be using today, is a metal spoon for once the wort's boiling. But I'm going to use my mash paddle here. The mash paddle's nice because it does help you break up some of those dough balls that may form when you put your grains in. Alright, so, and don't forget you'll need a fermenter of some sort, so get that cleaned out. What else? I think that's it. Let's brew. Okay, I am adding the 1.75 gallons of water here. This will be used for the mash. Alright, so water should be up to temp, so I'm going to put in my nylon mesh bag here. This is what we will use to hold the grains while they soak in the water. It'll make it easier to pull the grains out. Water will need to be up to about 169 degrees, so grab the thermometer here, take a quick peek. 168.4. That's pretty close, or even, well, I guess 168.6 now. So let's go ahead and get some grains and dump them in. Alright, got the bag of grains here. Our water's at the temp, so opening it up quick. I know you can't see it, it's a little off camera, and you'll see I got my mash paddle here. I'm going to try scooping some of the grain down into the water, stir it up nice and good. Try to get all the grain in there, but you don't want to go too fast because you could create some dough balls, and those can be a pain to break up once they're all clumped up. So continuously stirring tends to help, and the mash paddle itself is a lot easier to use than a spoon. A spoon can be used, but the mash paddle will make it easier. Little slots in the paddle help break up the grains. So, well, the dough balls, I should say. It's not actually crushing any grain in there, but so now we just need to get it nice stirred up. The temperature should come down to about 154 degrees. We may have to add some water to adjust. Now that our water is down to temperature, we will be shutting off the power to the induction cooktop and placing the entire pot with the lid on into a blanket to keep the mash warm. We may lose about 1 or 2 degrees in the hour that we are mashing, but that's not a big deal. We'll still get fermentables out of the grains, which is what we're going for. So I like to use my space blanket, you know, which is ironic because outer space is really cold, but it does a really good job of insulating. You could use a sleeping bag or some towels. I would think a blanket will do a lot better than towels, honestly. But if you're worried about making a mess on the blanket or something, a towel will work. But if you're doing it right, you shouldn't really have a mess all over your pod. Alright, our 1 hour is up, so I am taking the pot out of the blanket and I will get ready to sparge. I did make about a gallon of sparge water, heated up to 168 degrees, and we'll be pouring that over the grains. Alright, just did a quick temperature check. We went down to about 151, 152. So that's pretty good. Now I'm going to pull the grains out. This is a lot of grain for a mini mash, so it's going to be a little heavy. Got to let it drain out, and I will put it on a strainer, as you'll see here. Oh, got to flex those muscles. You do have to be careful with this part because I have had it where there's just enough of the grain bag hanging over the edge that when you start pouring the water over it, the water just sprays out the side and out of your pot, which doesn't do you any good because that's good work that's being wasted and not making it into the pot. Alright, I've taken the grains away. I'm going to top off the boil kettle here a little bit. Try to get up to about 3 gallons or so. This will lower the temperature of the wort, but we'll be able to regain that heat back from the induction cooktop, of course. So it's not too big of a deal. I topped off my boil to normal boiling volume minus the extract. And now I'm going to do the first wort hopping. We're at about 169 right now. So I'm going to add the 1/4 ounce of Willamette. This is a 1 ounce bag, but I did kind of measure it. I don't really measure it by weight. I kind of take the pellets and kind of make a 1/4 of whatever's in the bag. So this is the first wort hopping of Willamette. Alright, I'm working on getting the liquid malt extract poured in. Sorry for my arm being in the way. Try to give it a real nice stir in here. This is 3.15 pounds of DME. The other two, liquid malt extract, gold liquid malt extract, and the other 2 pounds of DME were just light dry extract. Nothing too fancy. Alright, I'm going to give it a little more power here, just make sure a nice vigorous boil, because it looks like it'll get through the hot break. And now I'm going to add our 0.75 ounces of Columbus. These are a lot smaller pellets. So we got Columbus. This is 1 ounce package, but we're going to add only 0.75 ounces. Like I said, I kind of estimate this. This is 13.4% alpha acid. So I'm getting my timer ready here, and let's go. 45 minutes, I'll get the chiller ready. And I may even put the chiller in another pot on the stove and heat it up that way, because I found that the induction cooktop can't get the chiller hot enough to sanitize it, sterilize it. Alright, we are under 1 minute left. We're about ready to add the 2.5 ounces of Willamette hops. These are still 11.2% alpha acid. 2.5 ounces here. Part of that half ounce was obviously estimated, like I said before, with the other partial ounces. So once we hear that buzzer go off, the timer, I'm gonna dump this in, and then we'll let it sit for about 5 seconds or so, and then I'll hit the button to shut off the burner or the cooktop. Also, at the 15-minute mark, I put in a Whirlflock tablet, so that'll help clear the beer a little bit. Even though it is a brown ale, it's pretty dark. It'll help get some of those proteins out of the beer so it lasts longer. And hopefully tastes better. So, here we go. Alright, we have the work chiller in. I actually sterilized that in a different pot on the stove because the induction cooktop couldn't quite handle sterilizing it. So we're trying to get it down to 70 degrees or so. Well, it's been a little bit and we're down to just over 100 degrees. And actually this thermometer's wrong. It's probably a bit cooler than that. Well, depending on how it's wrong. It probably is a little bit cooler than that. So in a little bit, I will, I kind of want to get it down to 80 degrees, just because I don't want to accidentally oxidize the beer when it's this warm, or the wort. I don't want to oxidize the wort. So once we can get it down to maybe 80, that's probably what I'll put in the carboy. Alright, I decided to wait, or get down to the 100 and pretty much go, and get it into the carboy, so we'll put it in the carboy now. I've had other kits that said go chill it to 100, and I didn't have problems with those beers, so I'm going to do the same here. Now I gotta aerate the beer. I'll be adding the British Ale 1335, British Ale 2 actually. Why smack back? From the time that we were brewing this did not fully inflate, but it did inflate some, so I'm sure it'll be okay. I'm going to create a makeshift blow-off tube using the airlock, parts of the airlock, and this tubing. So just to show you here. See? Doesn't need to be too tight, just enough to keep a seal in, so the other end of this will sit in this little container down here. There we go.